As you settle into rest, allow this voice to be your guide. This is a journey into deeper thinking that requires no action from you. Just breathe and listen. The goal is simple: to help you release the anxieties of the day and embrace the gentle flow of existence. We're going to explore ancient philosophical frameworks, not as academic exercises, but as practical protocols for your mind. Think of this as a system update for your mental operating system, designed to optimize for clarity and peace. By the end, you'll have a new lens through which to view your thoughts, transforming mental noise into serene focus. The architecture of mental serenity. Your mind is a high-performance system, constantly processing, analyzing, and reacting. Just like any sophisticated machine, it requires scheduled downtime to maintain peak operation. Without this maintenance, performance degrades. You experience this as brain fog, emotional volatility, and that feeling of being mentally overwhelmed. The cost is real: diminished cognitive function, poor decision-making, and a fundamental barrier to restorative sleep. This is where philosophy becomes your most powerful optimization tool. It's not about abstract theories, it's the operating system for cognitive regulation. Ancient wisdom provides a tested framework for managing the inputs and outputs of your consciousness. The Stoics, Taoists, and existentialists were, in essence, early biohackers. They developed protocols for navigating human suffering and uncertainty, the very things that create cognitive load and disrupt your peace. The modern world constantly bombards your system with demands, notifications, and expectations. This creates a high level of background noise, forcing your mind to work overtime. The architecture of mental serenity is built on creating boundaries around this input. It's about learning to triage information before it ever reaches your emotional core. When you master this, you stop wasting precious mental energy on things outside your direct influence. You conserve your cognitive resources for what truly matters: focused work, deep relationships, and, crucially, deep rest. The transition from feeling overwhelmed to feeling serene begins with a simple but profound shift in perspective. Instead of trying to control the external world, a futile and exhausting endeavor, you learn to master your internal response. This is the foundation. It's the difference between a system that crashes under load and one that remains stable, processing tasks efficiently. The protocols we'll explore are designed to build that stability from the ground up, starting with your fundamental relationship to control itself. This leads us directly to our first framework, Stoicism. The Stoics understood that the root of anxiety is the misapplication of effort. We try to change what we cannot, and we neglect what we can. Their control-focus protocol is the ultimate triage system for your attention. It teaches you to instantly categorize any event, thought, or emotion into one of two buckets: within your control or outside of it. This simple act of categorization is the first step toward reclaiming your mental bandwidth. It's the command that clears your cognitive cache, freeing up resources for the tasks that actually benefit from your focus. By implementing this protocol, you begin to build a firewall against the chaos of the external world, creating the quiet internal space where serenity can grow. This Stoic framework begins with a single, powerful question you can apply to any situation. What is within my control, and what is not? The Stoics called this the dichotomy of control. It's the ultimate triage system for your attention. Your opinions, your judgments, your desires, your aversions, these are yours to command. The actions of others, external events, your reputation, even your own body to a large extent, these lie outside your direct command. Most of our mental energy is wasted on the second category, fighting against realities we cannot change. This is the source of the cognitive load that keeps you awake at night. The practice is to instantly categorize any event or thought into one of these two buckets. A stressful email arrives. Is the content of the email within your control? No. The sender's actions are outside your sphere. But your reaction, the time you choose to respond, the tone you adopt, the emotional weight you assign to it, that is entirely yours to govern. This isn't about passivity, it's about precision. You redirect your effort from the uncontrollable to the controllable. You stop trying to calm the storm and start learning to sail your own ship within it. This is how you conserve your most valuable resource, your focus. Now let's look at the mechanism for making this practical. The triage protocol for external stimuli. When a stimulus hits your system, a piece of bad news, a critical comment, you pause. You don't react, you triage. You ask that control question. If it's outside your control, you consciously release the impulse to struggle against it. You acknowledge it and let it pass through your awareness without grabbing hold. If it is within your control, you engage with it deliberately, without the added emotional noise of frustration or anxiety about the parts you can't change. This creates a firewall, preventing external chaos from triggering internal turmoil. This leads to a more advanced Stoic technique, premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. This is proactive resilience training. It's not about pessimism, it's about inoculation. You briefly and calmly consider what could go wrong in your day. You imagine handling a professional setback, a personal rejection, or a minor inconvenience with composure. By rehearsing your ideal response to adversity, you build neural pathways for calmness. When a challenge actually arises, your mind doesn't go into panic mode. It recognizes the scenario. It has a preloaded protocol. The emotional spike is lower and your recovery is faster. This directly reduces the cognitive load of unexpected events, making your mind more efficient and stable. Daily implementation is about habituation. You don't master this in a crisis, you master it in the quiet moments. Start small. When you're stuck in traffic, apply the triage. You cannot control the traffic, so release the frustration. You can control whether you listen to calming audio or tense up. That choice is your practice. Before a meeting, engage in a moment of premeditatio. What if the proposal is rejected? How will you respond? This brief mental exercise prepares your system, reducing the anxiety that would otherwise drain your energy. The goal is to make these protocols as automatic as checking your phone, a habitual check-in with your sphere of control. The cumulative effect of this practice is a fundamental shift from being reactive to being responsive. Your mental operating system is no longer at the mercy of every external input. You have installed a governor that regulates your emotional and cognitive expenditure. This is the foundation of mental serenity. It creates the quiet internal space where your mind can finally power down. It's the difference between a system running countless background processes and one that is idle, ready for deep, restorative work. This Stoic framework gives you the tools to stop the leaks in your cognitive bandwidth, preserving that energy for what truly matters, including the profound rest your brain requires to rebuild itself each night. This brings us to a natural extension of that Stoic foundation, the Taoist principle of Wu Wei, often translated as effortless action. Where Stoicism gives you a protocol for triage, Taoism offers the art of non-resistance. It's the practice of aligning your actions with the natural flow of reality, rather than exhausting yourself by swimming against the current. Think of it as moving through water. The most efficient way isn't to thrash and fight, but to understand the current and move with it. This is the ultimate optimization for reducing effort and friction in your life. The core of this practice is releasing the immense weight of expectations and judgments. You have a mental model of how your day should go, how people should act, how your work should be received. When reality inevitably diverges from this model, you experience friction, frustration, and cognitive load. Wu Wei is the act of softening that mental model. It's not about having no goals, it's about holding them lightly. You act with intention, but you release your attachment to the specific outcome. The energy you once spent on frustration is now available for focused engagement. This leads to the paradox of control through surrender. The more you try to forcefully control outcomes, the more you experience resistance and anxiety. The Taoist path is to surrender the illusion of total control and instead focus on your own alignment. You control your effort, your intention, your response. You surrender the result. This isn't passive, it's strategic. It's recognizing that the system, the world, other people, the market, has its own momentum. By aligning your actions with that momentum, you achieve more with less effort. Your actions become potent because they are no longer wasted on futile resistance. The practical application is non-attachment. This is often misunderstood as not caring. It's the opposite. It's caring deeply, but without the crippling anxiety that your self-worth is tied to the result. You can work diligently on a project and be completely detached from whether it receives praise or criticism. Your validation comes from the quality of your effort, which is within your control, not the external reception, which is not. This detachment is a profound cognitive unburdening. It frees up enormous mental resources that were previously dedicated to managing the emotional roller coaster of external validation. So how do you implement this? It starts with a simple shift in awareness. As you lie there, listening to the principles of the Tao, imagine the weight of expectations, judgments, and self-criticism melting away, leaving you free to simply be. In your daily life, when you feel tension rising, a disagreement, a blocked goal, pause. Ask yourself, where am I forcing? Where am I resisting the current reality? Then, consciously relax that effort. Don't stop acting, change the quality of your action from forcing to allowing. Move with the situation. This is the art of Wu Wei in practice, a continuous process of letting go that creates a serene and efficient mind, perfectly primed for the deep, restorative silence of sleep. Where Taoism teaches us to flow with reality, existentialism presents us with a more fundamental challenge: the acknowledgement that reality itself has no inherent meaning. This can sound unsettling, but it is the gateway to the most profound form of cognitive freedom. The existential void is not an emptiness to be feared, but a blank canvas. The philosophers of this tradition argue that meaning is not something we discover, but something we actively create through our choices and actions. This is radical responsibility. You are the author of your own life's significance. The anxiety you might feel about this is not a sign of failure, but a sign of your freedom, the dizzying awareness of your own power to define what matters. This philosophy directly tackles the cognitive load of feeling adrift or purposeless. That feeling is a drain on your mental resources, creating a background hum of existential dread. Existentialism reframes this completely. The absence of a pre-written script means you are not failing to live up to some external standard. Instead, you are empowered to build your own values from the ground up. Your purpose is constructed through your commitments. The project you dedicate yourself to, the relationships you nurture, the principles you uphold, these are not just activities, they are the bricks and mortar of your personal meaning. This shifts your mental energy from searching for answers to actively building them. This leads to the concept of authenticity, which is essentially cognitive alignment. It means ensuring that your actions are in harmony with the values you have chosen for yourself. Inauthenticity is a major source of cognitive dissonance and mental fatigue. It's the exhaustion that comes from pretending to be someone you're not, or pursuing goals that don't truly resonate with you. Living authentically is an optimization protocol for your psyche. It removes the friction of internal conflict. When your actions align with your chosen values, you experience a state of flow and integrity that conserves mental energy and generates a deep, quiet confidence. So, how do you apply this as a nightly practice? It begins with a gentle audit of your day. As you lie in the quiet, ask yourself not, "What did I achieve?" but "Where was I authentic?" Review the day's interactions and decisions without judgment. Did you speak your truth, even quietly? Did you take an action that felt aligned with who you want to be? This isn't about critiquing performance, it's about recognizing moments of alignment. Each acknowledged moment is a brick laid in the foundation of your self-authored meaning. This practice transforms the potentially anxious question of, "What is my purpose?" into the active, manageable process of, "Am I living with purpose today?" Embracing this framework allows you to release the weight of external validation. Your sense of worth becomes internally generated based on your commitment to your own chosen path. This is the ultimate cognitive unburdening. The noise of others' opinions, the pressure of societal benchmarks, the fear of not measuring up. These all lose their power when you are the sole judge of your life's meaning. This creates a profound inner stillness. The mind, no longer scrambling to meet external demands or fretting over an unfindable purpose, can finally settle. It can rest in the quiet assurance that meaning is not a destination to be reached, but a quality to be infused into each action, each choice, and each quiet moment of reflection, including this very moment of surrender into sleep. All these philosophical frameworks share a single powerful goal: to reduce the unnecessary processing that drains your mental energy. This brings us to a practical tool you can use right now, the cognitive load audit. This is the process of identifying and eliminating the hidden bandwidth drains in your thinking. Your mind has a finite capacity for attention and executive function. Every worry about a future meeting, every rehashing of a past conversation, every minute spent mentally arguing with someone who isn't there, these are all active processes consuming valuable cognitive resources. This is the cost of unnecessary emotional processing. It's like running dozens of background applications on a computer, slowing down the entire system and preventing it from entering a low-power, restful state. The audit begins with simple observation. Without judgment, just notice where your mind goes when it's idle. What thoughts loop relentlessly? What scenarios do you play out that have no actionable outcome? These are your mental bandwidth drains. The goal isn't to stop thinking, but to streamline your thought patterns for efficiency. You learn to recognize an unproductive mental loop, like anxiety about a tomorrow's presentation, and consciously label it. This is a future worry. It is not happening now. I cannot act on it now. This act of labeling and categorizing, borrowed from our Stoic protocol, is the first step in terminating the process. The next step is the conscious act of letting go. This is the practical application of non-attachment. You acknowledge the thought, you recognize it offers no present moment value, and you gently release your grip on it. You don't fight it, that only gives it more energy. You simply redirect your focus to your breath, to the sensation of the bed beneath you, or to the sound of this voice. Each time you do this, you are not just calming yourself, You are actively defragmenting your mental hard drive. You are closing those background applications one by one, creating cognitive space for clarity and ultimately for silence. This practice of release is what prepares your mind for true downtime. A cluttered mind cannot rest deeply. It continues to process, to problem solve, to fret. By conducting this nightly audit, this gentle triage of your thoughts, you are performing essential system maintenance. You are clearing the cache of the day's mental clutter. You are creating the conditions for your brain to shift from a state of high-energy beta waves to the restorative theta and delta waves of deep sleep. This is the direct link between philosophy and rest. The serenity you cultivate through these practices is not an abstract concept. It is the measurable quieting of neural noise, creating the empty, peaceful space into which sleep can effortlessly flow. This entire process of auditing and releasing leads us to the most direct practice of all, mindfulness. If Stoicism is your triage protocol and Taoism is your flow state, mindfulness is your fundamental anchor. It's the practice of training your attention to rest in the present moment, without judgment. This is the operationalization of serenity. Your breath is the most accessible and constant anchor point for this practice. It's always with you, a rhythm that requires no effort, yet is intimately connected to your state of being. Focusing your attention on your breath as it flows in and out of your body is the simplest way to ground a scattered mind. The core mechanism of mindfulness is gentle redirection. Your mind will wander, it's designed to. The practice isn't to achieve a state of perfect, empty concentration. The practice is the act of noticing the wandering and gently, without any self-criticism, guiding your attention back to the anchor. Each time you do this, you are strengthening your cognitive muscles. You are building the neural pathways that allow you to disengage from unproductive thought loops and return to a state of neutral observation. This is the opposite of fighting your thoughts. It's acknowledging them and then choosing a different focus. This builds into sensory awareness as a powerful grounding technique. Once you've practiced with the breath, you can expand your anchor to include the entire field of present moment sensation. Feel the weight of your body against the surface you're lying on. Notice the temperature of the air on your skin. Listen to the subtle sounds in the room. This broad, open awareness pulls you out of the abstract world of your thoughts and into the concrete reality of the here and now. The anxious mind lives in the hypothetical future or the regretted past. The mindful mind resides in the safety of the immediate present, where most problems do not actively exist. The practice of returning attention without judgment is the key that unlocks mental stillness. Judgment, labeling a thought as bad or a wandering mind as a failure, is just more mental noise. It adds a layer of suffering on top of the original distraction. Mindfulness invites you to observe the thought itself as a passing event in your consciousness, like a cloud moving across the sky. You don't own the cloud, you just watch it pass. This shift from identification to observation is profoundly liberating. The thought loses its power to hijack your emotional state. Building mental stillness, therefore, is not an aggressive act of suppression. It is the gentle, patient art of observation. You are not trying to empty the mind, but to change your relationship to its contents. You become the calm, spacious awareness in which thoughts and sensations arise and pass away. This is the ultimate cognitive optimization. The background processes of worry and rumination gradually quiet down because you are no longer fueling them with your attention. The system naturally settles into a state of low energy consumption. This state of quiet observation is the direct precursor to sleep. It is the conscious surrender of doing and the peaceful embrace of simply being, creating the perfect internal conditions for your mind to power down into deep, restorative silence. Now we arrive at the practical application that ties all these principles together. The evening review. This is not a performance evaluation or a session of self-criticism. It is a non-judgmental assessment of the day's events, designed for one purpose: to release the cognitive load you are carrying so you can truly rest. Think of it as shutting down your mental computer properly, saving necessary work and closing all the open tabs and applications that drain power. Begin by simply scanning the day from start to finish, as if watching a movie of your own life. Notice the moments that stand out, the successes, the frustrations, the interactions. The key is to observe without attaching a story of good or bad. You are not the critic in the theatre, you are the projectionist. Your job is simply to run the film. For each event, gently acknowledge what happened. There was the difficult conversation. There was the completed task. This act of detached observation is the first step in releasing the emotional charge. Following the Stoic framework, the next step is to apply the triage. For each event you recall, ask the control question. What aspects were within your control? Acknowledge your efforts, your intentions, your chosen responses. Then acknowledge what was outside your control: the other person's reaction, the unexpected delay, the outcome of a decision. This simple categorization allows you to release what cannot be changed. You are not ignoring it, you are consciously setting it down because struggling with it is futile. You are preparing your mind for restorative downtime by clearing the cache of unresolved struggles. Then, move to acknowledgement without attachment. This is where Taoist non-attachment meets the review. You can acknowledge your efforts. I worked diligently on that project, without attaching your self-worth to the result. You can acknowledge a mistake. I was impatient in that moment, without spiraling into guilt. You simply note it, learn from it if possible, and then let it go. The goal is to end the review with a sense of closure, having triaged the day's events and released the mental and emotional weight. This creates a clean slate, a quieted mind that is no longer processing the day's data, and is therefore ready to enter the profound state of surrender that is sleep. This quieted state leads us to the final, most passive practice: sleep itself. We must reframe our understanding of rest. It is not a period of inactivity or wasted time. It is an active participation in your system's renewal. It is the ultimate expression of wu-wei and surrender. You are not doing sleep, you are allowing it to happen. Your body possesses a natural ancient wisdom for recovery that operates perfectly when you get out of its way. The practice here is to trust the process of unconscious processing. Throughout the day, your conscious mind has been collecting data, experiences, and unresolved threads. Sleep is when your brain's background processes take over, defragmenting the mental hard drive, consolidating memories, and solving problems subconsciously. Your job is not to control this, it is to let go of the need to control it. The anxiety about not sleeping, the frustration with a restless mind, these are just more forms of resistance. The philosophical practice is to embrace the state of surrender completely. As you lie here now, you can practice this surrender. Release the effort to fall asleep. Release the desire for a specific outcome. Instead, adopt the role of an observer, just as you did in the mindfulness practice. Feel the heaviness of your body yielding to gravity. Notice the rhythm of your breath without trying to change it. Your only task is to let go. Trust that your body and mind know exactly what to do. This act of conscious surrender is the final, most powerful protocol. It is the application of all that we've explored, the release of control, the flow with reality, the acceptance of the present moment, culminating in the deep, restorative silence that rebuilds you from the inside out. This conscious surrender is the final protocol. Sleep is not a void, but an active state of renewal where your brain integrates the day's lessons. It's where the philosophical work you've done, the triage, the non-attachment, the meaning-making, gets consolidated into neural pathways. Your job is to trust this natural process. Release the need to control the transition. Let the weight of your body and the rhythm of your breath be your guides into this state of profound system maintenance. The mind that has practiced letting go during waking hours finds it effortless to let go into sleep. Waking is not an abrupt return to chaos, but a gentle transition you can guide. The morning priming ritual is about setting intention without expectation. Before the world's demands flood your system, you create a buffer of mental space. You don't need a complex routine, you need a moment of orientation. As you become aware of the new day, bring a philosophical lens to it. Remind yourself of the dichotomy of control. Reconnect with the principle of Wu Wei. This isn't about planning your day in detail. It's about establishing the cognitive boundaries that will protect your focus and serenity. This ritual is proactive optimization. You are installing your mental operating system's firewall before the input overload begins. You prime your mind to respond, not react. You acknowledge that the day will contain events outside your control, and you reaffirm your commitment to managing only your internal world. This simple, quiet practice, lasting just a few breaths, creates a foundation of calm that can withstand the day's inevitable friction. It ensures you start from a place of centered strength, preserving the clarity you cultivated in the night's rest and carrying it forward into your waking life. The ultimate goal is not to master these philosophies as separate disciplines, but to integrate them into the fabric of your daily living. This is not about adding more tasks to your day. It's about changing the quality of your engagement with every task. Philosophy becomes a flowing practice, like breathing. You don't think about each breath, yet it sustains you. In the same way, these principles, the Stoic triage, the Taoist release, the existential authorship of meaning, can become the unconscious background of your awareness. This happens through small, consistent applications, not grand overhauls. It's the brief moment of applying the dichotomy of control before opening a stressful email. It's the conscious release of attachment to an outcome during a workout. It's the gentle acknowledgement of your own authenticity in a conversation. These are not separate practices, they are different facets of a single, integrated approach to navigating reality with less friction and more grace. You are not building a new system from scratch. You are adjusting the settings on the one you already have. The key is to trust the cumulative effect. You won't feel a dramatic shift after one evening of listening. The transformation is subtle, like water slowly carving a path through stone. Each time you choose presence over panic, alignment over force, or authenticity over pretense, you deepen that neural pathway. You are building resilience not through force of will, but through the gentle repetition of a more efficient pattern. Embrace the imperfection in this practice. Some days, the protocols will feel natural. Other days, your mind will feel chaotic. The practice is not the absence of chaos, but the gentle act of returning to the anchor again and again. This is the ongoing journey of self-mastery. It has no final destination. It is a continuous process of refinement, of learning to flow with the complexities of life while preserving your inner serenity. The mind you are cultivating is not a fortress against the world, but a flexible, resilient system that can adapt and thrive within it. The peace you find is not a static state to be achieved, but a dynamic quality you carry with you. A quiet confidence that you have the tools to navigate whatever arises, returning each night to the restorative silence that makes it all possible. So that is the transformation, from a mind burdened by anxiety to one anchored in serenity. This guided journey was designed to be absorbed passively, allowing these principles to settle into your awareness without effort. Trust this process of integration. Let the final thought be one of release, allowing the quiet and clarity to carry you into a deep, restorative rest.